and that just allows us to tailor the content for future webinars just to suit your needs. But to begin with regards to the web calculator, I'll just bring this screen over here now. So for those of you who have the web calculator installed already, you may have had a look in this screen yourselves just to customize a few of the options in here. But something I did want to really touch on first of all is the geolocation settings which you have available, which will really allow you to narrow down your fees for your clients. So whenever you first set a web calculator, you'll be given this screen at the top here, which allows you to set a fee scale, a point of contact for each of the quotes that are generated online, and by default, this just always uses the same fees, notifies one person, and it's pretty much as simple as that. However, we do know that a lot of firms out there do have various different offices around the country, various different fee scales they might be wanting to use for those different areas, and really might want to make this a little bit more granular. So in order to change the way this web calculator pulls through your fees, the first thing we need to do is head down to the fee scale section. So any admin users will have access to this screen, as I'm sure you've all probably seen from your setup session with ourselves. And you just want to head into fee scales. Now, I've generated two separate fee scales in here. So we've got the regular one, which is what is tied to the web calculator itself. So whenever a customer currently goes on the web calculator, these are the fees that they will be charged. And I want this to be for the whole country. However, in this fictitious firm, DBS Solicitors, let's say we want to give local clients a 10% discount. So what you'd then do is you would duplicate this fee scale. Here's one I made earlier. And you can just call it anything you like. So in this case, I've called this one local minus 10% discount. Or should we say 10% discount? And I've simply just taken 10% off each of these prices. So to apply the geolocation specifics on this one, we need to scroll to the very bottom of the page. And you'll see right at the bottom, you've got this section here called postcode allocation. Now this has had a bit of an overhaul recently, which means that you can now insert several different people in here. So if you do want a different solicitor to be notified in each of your different offices, or different people notified upon quotation, different people notified upon instruction, and also on cancel as well, if you have anyone who's in charge of retentions, for example. You've now got the freedom to do this on here. So for example, if I wanted to give a nice discount to anyone who is in the PR9 area, I can set myself to be the point of contact there. And I might just want Andy and my colleague to deal with any cancellation notices. And you simply press insert, and it will show up the postcode and my details on here. And also, let's say we want to do one for PR8 as well. And let's say we have another office in that postcode area, and I'd like my colleague Laura Wolvin to deal with those. So we insert that one too. Now, the web calculator itself is smart enough to detect these postcodes whenever someone uses the calculator to generate a quote. So if we now double check this all pulled through on the web calculator itself, it should have changed the options on here. As you can see, this now looks completely different to what I did earlier, because it's now shown us the granular detail of who is appointed to which office and which postcode. So default quotes will be given this one, given this fee scale, and it'll be this person who receives the notifications. But anyone who types in postcodes beginning with these will receive the 10% discount. So to put that to the test, we simply just save the changes there. Let's head to the DBS fictitious website, and this is once again their fictitious calculator. And we'll run through an example quote. So I'll just do a quote for myself. And then if I type in one of those postcodes, or a postcode that isn't one of those that was allocated to the 10% discount scale, the web calculator will automatically shift to quote from that scale instead. So as you can see, it's now discounted the fees on here. So the regular one was at 500. This one is at 450. If we just try that again, just with the regular scale, just to show it in action. I'll just put that 100,000. As you can see, this is now quoted with the regular fee scale because the web calculator didn't pick up that that postcode had been entered. So you can really do this to as much granular detail as you'd like, really. I mean, those were just 2 postcode areas that I included. You can either have it just PR, for example, which will include PR1, PR2, PR3, etc. Similarly, you can narrow it down to exact postcodes if you really want it to be that specific. And you can do this as many times as you wish and attach as many different fee scales as you like. So it is really as customizable as you'd like it to be. So that is pretty much the geolocation specific side of the web calculator itself. And it's also worth noting that if you did wish to have different web calculators for different types of law that you deal with, while you can't currently do proposals on here, you can have multiple website calculators for, say, for example, if you have a completely different fee scale to the between freehold and leasehold. So if you have totally different fees, totally different scales, completely different in every way possible, then you can just simply ask us to add a new calculator for you. We'll provide you with the details which do this. And you can simply type in some details on here and separate this out for a different fee scale. In addition to this as well, there is a feature on the web calculator themselves where you can actually select lead sources or have the client select lead sources and really tie this in with your marketing campaigns. So the ones that will be listed on here are just the default that come with Perfect Portal, but for those of you who've entered in your own lead sources on here, this will be your full list, and you can simply tick whichever ones you'd like to appear on the website. And this just allows the client to then let you know where they found you, essentially, which also just helps with any kind of marketing campaigns you've got surrounding that. And the place where they'd find this on the quotes is simply here at the bottom below the quote questions. And this will all pull through to your dashboard as well. Typically, I've not got the lead sources tile on there. Let me just add that on here just to give you the example. So as you can see, any web quotes will pull through to your lead sources on here as well. For those of you as well who do periodic vouchers or discounts for clients, this can be a great way to make sure that you're maximizing client instructions and making sure that that during the quieter months of business that you are able to win as much business as you possibly can. If you did want to apply any discounts to the website calculator, the first thing you would need to do is head down to discount settings down here and simply just create a new discount code. I've made one earlier here, which would be the a February 10% discount. I mean, this could be absolutely anything you want it to be. I know people do discounts over Christmas, or some people even have like just a weekend discount for things like Black Friday, for example. You know, anything you want to do, you can create it in here. And there's various different options which you can use on your discounts, such as you can have it either a percentage or a specific amount. You can apply a limit to the discounts as well. So you could have, say, the first 300 clients to use this code will get the discount. Anything after that, and it's simply hard luck. Or you can set it specifically to a date range. So if you just wanted to have it over one weekend or just over Christmas, and each one will ask you to generate a code for it. So just a nice simple code in this one, Feb 10. And to enable the voucher code on the web calculator itself, you simply toggle this button on the web calculator settings, and hit Save Changes. And then if you then give this code to your clients or through any marketing campaigns or any professional friends, all the client needs to do is enter the code on the web calculator here, and this will then apply that discount. So once again, if I just cycle through very quickly. As you can see, it's applied £50 discount for this client, plus VAT, which is taking £60 in total off the quote. So the main talking point recently about the web calculator, and I think a very strong driving force in a lot of people's interest in having this on the website, has been a lot of the new changes to regulations that have been coming into play recently, both from the SRA and also the CLC and even the GDPR that has pretty much come to light over the last year. And you can apply the relevant regulation to your web calculator using a few of the boxes that are listed in this section on the actual web calculator instructions. So to start by showing what's actually enabled as default, you've got this GDPR box here, which is enable client communication opt-in tick box. So the client effectively has to opt in to receive communication from you. So you can disable that if you wanted to, or enable it. Now, the SRA regulations state that the client just needs to be able to ensure they can receive a quote from your website. So by default, this is always going to match the SRA regulations. But if you did disable the ability for the client to see the quote, which is this option on here, that would then mean that this web calculator then doesn't match the SRA regulations, and you need to figure out another way of actually matching that on your website. But by simply having the client able to see the quote on the website, that matches all of the SRA side of things for you. And lastly, the CLC regulations is this additional box, which will be enabled once the opt-in tick box is also enabled, which is this one. And the big difference here is that the CLC insists that the client shouldn't have to provide their own information in order to obtain the quote, which if we now leave that enabled and then save those changes, I'll just refresh this page. When we now come to do a quote on the website, we should now see that we have this line of text at the top, which is the wording from the CLC, just to make sure that the client is happy to provide information, and they just need to then tick this box. If not, then they can leave that, and it's all totally optional information. Put an address in there just to receive a quote. Let's get that Feb 10 discount on there again, and let's also choose a lead source as well. So as you can see, they can still receive the quote. However, if they don't wish to be contacted, then usually a quote will auto decline in the poll. As you can see here, so this one will have automatically declined because the client opted out of being communicated. So if you do see that on your regular dashboard, if you do see that your decline quote numbers are starting to increase, it's probably worth just checking in your quotes here just to see if you do have many of these in there. Because while the client can still obtain the quote from the website, if they do opt out of communication, it automatically declines the quote. But the client can reactivate this if they do give you a call back. So if this client did give you a call and say, hi, I received a quote from your website, the quote reference was 448851, and they then wish to instruct you from there, you can then simply enter into the quote from here, activate the quote, and the client can fill in any information that they didn't provide at the time. In addition to these changes as well, we are also now providing support for AdWord tracking. So if this is something that you do use in terms of external advertisements to track traffic to your website, please do get in contact with us because we can now apply that for you with UTM codes. But this is only something that you'll use if you do use client data to send promotional emails outside of conveyancing. It's probably not best if we go through that in this webinar purely because I think it'll be a whole other topic really to discuss. So please do give us a call if you do want to discuss applying that, and we'll go through that separately and individually with you. So next, Satu just has a few words in relation to the SRA and CLC guidelines. So I hope you found that insight into the web calculator useful, and I'll now hand you over to Satu.
Perfect, thank you, Dan. So I just wanted to add a couple of comments as over the last couple of months, talking to clients as well as other firms, they just had they were a bit confused about what is for the website calculator, what is compliant for SRA, what is compliant for CLC, GDPR side of things, and also what actually would benefit the firm in getting more more leads and qualified leads so they can actually convert those leads. So you have a few different options, as you saw what Dan presented. So with SRA, you just have to make sure the client can get the instant price information without contacting you. So they have no, I have shown the calculator without the contact field being optional to the compliant officers there, and they said that's totally fine. The firms can capture the contact details, but as long as the consumer can get the quote instantly, then the calculator is compliant for the price transparency rules. And remember, there are additional rules by both of the organizations. So price is just small portion. So if you are providing other details, then you don't need to worry about that on the website calculator side of things. And the other thing for CLC, they want to make sure the client can get the information without having to put their details in. So that's first name, last name, email address, and even a phone number. So hence we moved the contact details fields and made it optional in there, and the opt-in button at the very top. The text that Dan showed, the 2 lines, I will send that in a follow-up email to everyone, but that was approved by CLC. But you can also tweak that to match your own language as well. So if you have other wording that you would like to use, please send that across to us, and we will change that for you. As for GDPR, the client opt-in button at the bottom of the quote screen, you only need to enable that if you're capturing client data to send them other promotional emails. So for example, right now, clients only inquiring about conveyancing and legal information, legal service information. But if you use that data and then start emailing about other promotional things that you have going on, or other areas of business or other partners that you work with, then that's where you need to have that compliant check-in box. But if you're not using that data to send them any promotional information, then our advice would be to not have it on, because it does mean that you won't get the client data and the quote will automatically be declined in your system. So only enable that option if you are capturing the data to send any promotional material. As well as with CLC side, we do think it does add value for the client to put their information in. So if you do provide price information on your website in other manners, whether it's price charts or using their own templates, then I would say leave the calculator fields as required, because that, again, will give you more information and another opportunity to follow up on those leads and get more business. So only enable the fields that you think will meet, best meets your firm's needs. And if you have questions, please give either myself a call or Dan. I've been working with both SRA and CLC, the actual people who actually look at the websites, so then I can answer your questions that way, and also maybe propose the questions to them if I don't have the answer. The other thing that I wanted to make a note on is the website calculator and how it's displayed on your website. So you can have the floating option as well as the embedded, but make sure if it's embedded option that you actually get your website developer to design the page so you have other call to actions there. Again, your maybe feedback from your other clients, your rating on Trustpilot or other third parties that you use, just so it kind of is user friendly. I have come across a lot of websites where now especially there's just pages and pages and pages of information, which is good for SRA and CLC, but they don't necessarily meet the needs and the demands from the consumers. So if you put yourself in a consumer's shoes, then you can see how they want to see the information and make it very clear, make it short, and use the language that they would understand, because we want to make sure all of the firms using Perfect Portal that you still get a lot of website leads through the website calculator or through private inquiries, but also conversions, and you will only get that if you have the proper information that speaks the consumers to the consumer's needs, not necessarily SRA and CLC. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And in the next third, we do have some developments in the pipeline further to make the calculator even better for the end client, user-friendly, but also give you a little bit more flexibility as well, which does include moving the contact detail fields after the quote's generated, because I know some firms have requested that. That is about it. We are looking to host future webinars, so please do let us know what type of topics you would like. Towards the end of February, we have one scheduled with Ticket to show the integration, and also with legal mentors to talk about conversion tools. Do let us know if you would like us to send you short tips over email and which day of the week you prefer to have these webinars. And any questions?
Can I just say as well, I noticed that there was, I think there's a few issues starting there with the polling. Myself and Sata did mention that there are some polls on there where you can actually select what future content you'd like these webinars to be about. It looks as though it hadn't launched automatically. It's always all right on the night, isn't it? But I've now just pushed that through. So if you now click on the poll section, that will then allow you to vote for future content on these webinars.
Fantastic. I don't think we have any questions at the moment. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy your Wednesday, enjoy your lunch, and stay warm.
Thanks very much, everyone. Goodbye.